Saturday Night Theatre.
Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair, world growing older, high and free in the air.
We present Elizabeth Bell as Amy Johnson and John Pullen as Jim Mollison in Stars in My Hair.
Far below, the home fires glimmer and flicker all over town.
A play about the two record-breaking air races of the 1930s, written specially for radio by Bruce Stewart.
Don't I know the higher up, then the quicker I'll come down, till I remember I'll say my thankful prayer for that moon on my shoulder, world growing older, moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Miss Johnson, level off now. Miss Johnson, please. Can you hear me adequately in the forward cockpit there?
Aye. Oh, aye, Captain Baker, I hear you very well.
Then let's level off, Miss Johnson. We are unquestionably off the ground now.
Right, I'll just... Oh...
Something the matter?
Nothing, Captain Baker.
I said level off, not hurl us back to the ground again, Miss Johnson. You're losing altitude. Now, we've practiced the use of the rudder pedals many times.
I know, but the wretched things won't...
The equipment is standard to this Cirrus 2 model. We're still descending, Miss Johnson. Do you think perhaps we'd better get our nose up?
I'm trying, Captain Baker, but for some reason...
Hard back on the stick, Miss Johnson. Hard back.
Oh.
Very well, Miss Johnson. Over to me. I have control. Right. Now we want to climb, Miss Johnson. There's a cloud bank just ahead of you, and you're going to get above it.
What? What cloud bank, Captain Baker? I can't see anything.
We are imagining the cloud bank, Miss Johnson.
Oh, aye, of course. Sorry.
Now you're going up. Nice and easy, please. No bumps. Miss Johnson?
Yes, Captain Baker?
I thought we were going up, as in the old song.
It's these blasted rudder pedals again.
Dear me, we're all toes and bunions this afternoon, aren't we? I sometimes wonder if we've grasped the basic notion of flying. It is at times to make the aircraft ascend, and other times to make it come down.
Yes, Captain Baker, I'm doing my best.
No, Miss Johnson, you're climbing too steep. You're about to stall, you, Miss Johnson. Thank you, Miss Johnson. She's mine again. I have control. And switch off. Well, I suppose that's a technicality, since the motor would appear to have stopped of its own accord.
Yes, Captain Baker.
Alighting. Here, let me help you.
Oh, no. I can manage that on my own, thanks. Well, wasn't too bad, really, was it? No, I'm getting the hang.
This was, let's see, your 5th lesson, wasn't it?
My 5th, aye, Captain Baker.
Miss Johnson, how much are these lessons costing you?
30 shillings a time.
And at the beginning of the year, you must obviously have paid out 3 guineas to join the London Aeroplane Club. You earn a great deal of money, by any chance?
No, I'm just a shorthand typist in the city, £3.10 a week.
Your family's wealthy, perhaps?
No. Why are you asking me things like that? I mean, my dad's comfortable enough, but he's in an up-and-down trade, fish.
Fish?
Wholesale and packing, in Hull. The Johnson family fish business goes back to my grandfather last century.
I see. But in this year of grace, 1928, you'd seem to be spending about a third of your gross income on learning to fly, Miss Johnson. Now, with prices what they are and the unemployment situation getting steadily worse, do you really think it's the best investment you could make?
I'm as bad as that, you mean?
Worse? Shall I be completely frank?
Oh dear, what have you been up to now?
Flying is a state of mind, Miss Johnson. I've instructed all kinds of pupils in my time, and I've found that the good ones, the ones who make real pilots, hardly need instruction at all. In a curious way, it's simply a matter of correcting and amplifying what they already know.
Oh.
Now, with you, it isn't remotely like that. You're slow on the uptake, clumsy at the controls. You aren't promising material. In addition to which, of course, you're a woman.
And what's my being a woman against me?
Well, you know what I mean. Flying is a man's world.
Who says?
All the serious work in the field is done by men. It takes a man's stamina. Lindbergh last year, America to Europe, then Bert Hinkler this spring, England to Australia in only 15 days. That shows you need to be tough, Miss Johnson.
And who's telling me I'm not tough?
Yet you couldn't possibly be thinking of going in for record flying. That's absurd.
Bert Hinkler. Aye. That was a great achievement, wasn't it, Captain Baker? In an Avro Avian.
Yeah?
It's the machine that counts. The machine and understanding it. Funny I shouldn't have seen that before. Perhaps I should train as a ground engineer.
Oh, please, did you ever hear of a woman ground engineer?
But I'm ignorant mechanically. And when you're ignorant, you're afraid. That's what they say, isn't it? At least I could get nerves out of the way and be that much further on.
Miss Johnson, Amy, what makes you think you want to fly, exactly?
Oh, I've got to fly. There's never been any doubt about that. I've always known it. Since the first moment I saw an aeroplane, more than likely.
Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
And yet it wasn't anything like a great white light breaking over me or anything. I wasn't suddenly dazzled. No, it just grew up in me. This understanding.
World growing older, high and free in the air.
One day I'll fly. I will. I will, Captain Baker. Whatever it takes.
If you have scotch, prepare to shed it now, Alf Holbein, and in generous dosage. Come nightfall, and this lean shadow will lurk beneath the palms of the oasis no longer.
Today's the day, is it, Flying Officer Mollison?
No longer Flying Officer Mollison, Alf, but to you and all men, just plain Jim. Not to mention all women, excepting plain women, of course. I'm finished with the Royal Bloody Air Force. Hurrah, jubilation, and up the Air Vice Marshals for the pension fund.
Most regrettably when I go, sir. Good times and all that.
Not this chicken. Good times. I've spent 3 years grinding my teeth to the stumps. You'd think in the Royal Air Force they'd encourage the promising aviator in the odd bit of aviation, wouldn't you? But for a mere loop-the-loop and triple-barrel roll over B barracks on one famous occasion, they had me up on a charge.
It's just that Sopwith's come so expensive, sir. The Air Vice Marshal told me personal.
And why precisely are you clutching that soda siphon with such grim intent, Alf? Haven't I told you time and time again that's a lethal weapon where good Scotch is concerned?
Sorry, sir. Forgot for the moment you liked it neat and nice and early in the morning.
Did I misunderstand something there?
Seeing as you're no longer an officer and a gentleman, I sincerely trust there's no misunderstanding between us, sir.
Yes, Alf. I appreciate I've always been among the more prompt and impatient of your customers, Alf. Likewise, I've been far too scratchy around this dump ever to win the popular boy contest. But if you were remotely sympathetic, you'd see it's all been the measure of my frustration. Oh, beautifully poured out. Oh, I shall miss the easy action.
That'll be 1 and 3, sir.
Yeah, put it on the bar bill. There's a good scout.
The bargain. Why, of course. You'll be wanting to fix that up now you're going, won't you, Mr. Mollison?
Will I have?
Good of you to be so punctilious, sir. I've got the ledger right here. Oh, this came through this morning too, sir. Letter.
To the bar? Well, yes, there's shrewd thinking in that, no doubt. They're from London. Sure, bloody cheek.
Sir?
My tailor, demanding £59 8 and twopence. But you know, it's come to something when damn tailors start demanding money.
I know, sir. Only £22 2 and 6, it looks like here.
22? What, just for booze? You must be joking.
Tot it up for yourself, Mr. Mollison.
Sure. Well, I'm damned. Oh, all right, Alfred. I suppose I'll have to write you a cheque. I'll drop it in before I go.
The cash doesn't offend, sir.
What's the matter with the cheque?
You'd be leaving the area, would you, Mr. Mollison?
The country. Australia for a bit, I thought.
Funny. I had the idea it might be a fair old distance.
Look, it's where the flying's happening. Kingsford, Smith and Ulm pulling the England-Australia record down to 13 days last month. Now, that's the sort of thing I should be involved in. Not the stupid horsing about, which is all I ever did here.
I'd be surprised if you haven't got your severance pay in your pocket at this moment, sir. Look, come on. Tailors and that are one thing, Mr. Mollison, but the old slate, it's a debt of honour.
Alf, you're a peasant.
Yes, probably the only thing that saves me from being an officer and a gentleman.
10, 15. And you've no conception what it's been like for me. Rules, regulations. I was a mug ever to join the Royal Air Force. The race is to the swift and unfettered, Alf. And a man owes it to himself to be up there on the starting line in his running shorts, come what may. That's £22 2 and 6. Have one yourself?
No, thanks, sir.
Particular who you drink with?
Good luck, Mr. Mollison. Hope you get into the race and have a nice position. Me, I didn't even know there was one on. But then why would gents like you want to compete if it wasn't that you had us peasants for spectators?
That's how I am, so what can I do? I'm happy when I'm with you.
Johnny! Johnny!
Yes.
Here's that lady I told you about, from the News Chronicle.
Oh, right, Captain Baker.
Miss Vera Smedley and Miss...
No, don't turn from the engine, Miss Johnson. You've got a smear of oil on your right cheek and it's absolutely wizzo. Isn't it absolutely wizzo, Claude?
Wizzo with knobs on, Vera. Hold still, Miss Johnson. Terrific. Now, you just carry on talking while I change planes.
I take it you won't be needing me anymore.
Oh, couldn't you stay, Captain Baker? I mean, I only agreed to give the interview today because I thought you'd
Thank
be...
you so much, Captain. Moving around as I do, I give people marks out of 10 for the way they accommodate the press. Well, you get the full compliment. You told Miss Johnson to fly personally. I can say that, can I?
Well...
I'd certainly never have got my A licence if it hadn't been for Captain Baker.
She was an apt pupil now, wasn't she, Captain?
Why?
I worked very hard and just managed to scrape through.
Modest. Despite formidable achievements, retains basic Tyneside simplicity. Very nice.
Humberside. I come from Hull.
Well, north of Watford, dear. Rewrite will know.
Right there. The spanner a bit higher, Miss Johnson. Hold it. Marv. And open the top buttons of that constricting overall, would you, love?
Eh?
Yes. Well, I'll be in the office if you need me, Johnny.
Oh, but Captain Baker...
I notice they call you Johnny. That shows you've been accepted as one of the chaps in a man's world, does it?
Well, I don't know about one of the chaps. Who said it was a man's world, anyway? I learned to fly, and just last week I got my ground engineer's ticket, too.
Becoming the first woman ground engineer in the world, we hear. Congratulations, Miss Johnson.
I don't care about things like that, honestly. I got my ticket, and that means that this is now my world as much as any man's. I can make a career in aviation. Consequently...
Good, yes, very good. Gentle yet unyielding, steel behind the chiffon. As a child, you cherished a secret admiration for Mrs. Pankhurst and the suffragettes, did you?
What?
How about a foot on the toolbox, Miss Johnson? That's the way.
I was anxious to give this interview today because I
Oh,
wanted
dear.
to...
Hoped you might be wearing silk stockings under all that greasy clobber. Still, trouser leg a lot higher. Sensation. Oh, sensation.
You see, I've got something to say, Miss Smedley. I thought it might help to make an announcement to the press that
Yes, dear, announcements all in good time. The important stuff first. Do you find any part of this work unfeminine, I wonder?
How do you mean?
Too demanding, destructive of female poise and composure.
Well, I lost my last fingernail tightening up an air screw bolt on Tuesday, if that's any help.
Grime in the pores, but unheeding of the sympathetic glances of other women. Your love life.
I'm sorry.
Look, you couldn't take the overall off altogether, could you?
Lord!
Yes, what does he think he's doing, bobbing about like a fly?
Forgive me, I never spoke.
Do you find your single-minded dedication to flying interferes with your love life, Miss Johnson?
My love life?
Yes.
Well, I hadn't noticed it particularly.
Does that mean it doesn't? Or that you haven't got a love life?
Look, do we have to talk about this?
It's what the readership sweats on, dear. Announcements just don't tend to get a lot of space unless we're also revealing all about how it is in the romantic department.
Not even if my announcement was that I mean to undertake a solo long-distance flight.
Where to?
Perhaps Australia.
Miss Johnson, would you consider marrying an Australian?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yes. Just like that. The lock of hair further over the eye, though. Gloria Swanson, what do you do for a living? Delish.
There's simply so much to be organised if I mean to make a long-distance flight. Finance to be raised, a machine to be found. The aircraft manufacturing companies sometimes like to release a prototype for a new venture. That's why I need publicity. As to the kind of man I'd marry...
Yes, Miss Johnson.
I haven't thought that out. Not clearly. But I'd know him at once, I think.
I'm getting a low-angle shot across the plane wing, Vera. Brave girl flyer pits frailty against the sky.
Whizzo, Claude.
Just as I knew I had to fly. Just as it seems clear I'll get to Australia. It's funny. Pattern of my life, maybe. Some things are never in doubt.
Come in. Jim Mollison. By crikey, boy, if I kept a stock whip in the office, I
Now,
tell you...
Smithy, remember what it does to your pals.
Don't call me Smithy. I only let my friends call me Smithy. Charles Kingsford Smith to you, and when you go in and see Charlie Elm, you better call him Captain.
Look, it wasn't my fault. I hit a pothole nobody could have seen from the air. Visibility below par.
Yours or the field's?
Oh, again?
Are you cut, Jim? Tanked up on whiskey like you gave me a solemn word you'd never be again after the last time?
It's about time you got some decent fields in this country, you know, Smithy. With streets ahead of you in England. All this setting down on paddocks that bloody sheep wouldn't graze on and race courses. One of these days somebody will land 2 lengths ahead of the favourite and tear up the straight to win the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, look, don't come to pommy smart aleck with me, Jim. Just answer my question. Are you blind?
Of course I'm not.
Your tongue sounds damn slow.
Smithy, it's a long haul, Adelaide to Sydney, particularly flying empty the way I was. And those hawk moths, well, they're sluggish. Chap gets bored, and if there's one thing I can't live with, it's being rotten, bloody bored.
Strike alike. And to think I went out on a limb for you with Charlie Elm. He said from the start you were too irresponsible for Australian National Airways.
I'm not irresponsible. Oh, it happens to all of us once in a way. You know that, Smithy. And I didn't do the hawk all that much harm, only bent the wing a bit.
In half.
Well, look, she could have been a write-off. At least I stopped that happening.
You reckon, eh?
Yes, I do, of course.
Hold on. Smithy? Charlie? Yeah. Jim Mollison's right here. Oh, worse than that, mate. Oh, look, hang on. I'm not sure we should... Well, no, of course I'm not defending him, but I... What? Well, you bet, Charlie, but, we won't give him the boot straight off, maybe. Better to think about it, I mean. He's a good man deep down. It could have been a sight worse, Charlie. Yeah. You bet.
Out on a limb again, Smithy?
Blowed if I know why. But it's true. You did stop that hawk from being a write-off. I saw the whole thing. Granted, you'd got yourself into strife in the first place. You then turned round and did everything bang right. Couldn't have handled it better myself.
Praise indeed.
What are you after, anyway, Jim? You're a queer cuss. I'm not sure I know you. You spend a hell of a lot of energy keeping up a front, but you don't let people see what's behind it.
Maybe there's nothing.
There's nothing at the bottom of a bottle anyway, mate. Only the smell.
I don't really get bored, you know. Sometimes I get scared.
Well, of what? The final crack up?
Mm. Maintaining altitude meantime, maybe. Or else a...
Yeah?
Oh, it's neither here nor there.
A ball and chain, I say.
Eh?
Well, settling down, Jim. Every man in his right mind scared of that. But it helps, fair go. One Sheila for life, instead of every flaming Sheila in sight.
Yeah, that could be the answer, I suppose. But then if I can't be happy with other chaps' wives, how should I ever be happy with one of my own? Don't tank up on kerosene, Smithy. I'm a good pilot. You've admitted it yourself. That's what I do. You wait and see. One day I'll be in there racing. One day soon. I'll see you.
In there racing. Why, he boozes the silly fool's ahead of himself already. It's truth, if he ever went in for record flying, he could do it without the plane.
Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Well, Amy, lass, all ready?
Dad. Oh, I can't tell you how glad I am you're here to see me off. I'm just doing a final check of my maps and things. Jason's being run up now, is he?
Out on the tarmac. So, you had to give your machine a name, eh? Painted on the fuselage.
Well, Jason sounds a bit better than just that dreadful registration number, you must admit. G-A-A-H. Gah! You'd have to pronounce it like a snarl.
Still, it was always like that with you, lass. Even when you were just a kiddie. Aye, everything had to have a name. Dolls, prams, all your playthings.
Jason isn't a plaything, Dad.
No, lass, no. You're a big girl now. No doubt of that.
Far below, the home fires glimmer and flicker all over town.
So, of course, no one really believes in Amy Johnson, the plucky girl pilot. Despite everything the newspapers wrote up about me, only Wakefield's Oil came up with any real sponsorship in the end. And if it hadn't been for you and the £300 you lent me...
We won't talk about that. I believe in Amy Johnson, the plucky girl pilot. Always have.
You'll have every penny back, Dad, I promise you that. When I make a success of this flight and confound the cynics.
You really believe you'll make a success then, Amy?
What do you mean by that? I've got to. I must.
Aye, I know you're determined. I'd never thought to help you otherwise. But to succeed, I think you have to know why you're doing things.
Why?
Never understood that part of it, lass. Oh, I know what they say about mountains and things. People climb them because they're there. But that doesn't seem rightly to apply in this case.
Do I have to have a reason for what I'm doing? Does it matter?
Well, you could be risking your life, lass. You'd ask yourself a few questions after if you came a cropper, if you see what I mean.
You're not telling me I shouldn't go or something, Dad, at this stage?
There's never a bad time for me to talk to you, Amy. All I'm asking is, are there things you haven't worked out yet? I'd like you to be sure you know exactly what you're doing.
Well, I do. I do. I've always known what I'm doing, Dad.
Johnny, the very best of luck. Jack Humphreys has checked your aircraft from stem to stern and everything's in A1 condition. We, all of us, wish you all the luck in the world.
Thanks, Captain Baker. I won't let you down. Well, time I wasn't here, eh?
Don't I know the higher up, then the quicker I'll come down.
Dad?
Aye, lass.
You don't have to know why you do things like this. No, it's more how you'd be if you didn't do them. And if I didn't take off this morning and try my damnedest to fly to Australia, well, that'd be the end of me, Dad.
God bless, Amy. Keep your tail up.
All the best, Johnny. Good, steady climb now.
Till I remember, I'll say my thankful prayer.
That'll be the end of it, Dad. You know, she hasn't said that to me in 20 years.
Sorry, Mr. Johnson.
A kiddie in a frill dress telling me just how she couldn't bear it if she wasn't allowed to go out to play after school. Or into the town on her bicycle. I suppose a man's daughter never gets out of that frill dress, does she? It should have a right to eventually. It's nature.
Oh, that moon on my shoulder, world growing older, moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Despite cloud and a warning of fog on the channel, Miss Amy Johnson took off from Croydon at 7:30 a.m. Only family and a few close associates were there to wish her good luck. While there is widespread respect and goodwill towards the plucky girl pilot, in informed circles, it is thought that the rigors of a solo flight to Australia will prove a severe test of both woman and machine.
May 5th. Vienna, after a 10-hour flight. Not a waltz to be heard, Jason. Chilly hangars in the middle of the night, mechanics being amused at our pretensions. Well, we'll show them there's a dance in the old girl yet. May 6th. Bearing Constantinople. God, this rain. Where did it come from? So sudden and so cold, Jason. I can hardly see. And the petrol pump's giving trouble. There'll be work to be done when we set down. A lot of it. May 7th. Out of Aleppo, on the way to Baghdad. Hand-pumping petrol now, 50 gallons a day. It'll drive me crazy, Jason. Oh, yes, it's tough, all right, flying to Australia. You need stamina. The altitudes don't help either. 11,000 feet to get over the Taurus Mountains. Oh, I'm tired. Must try and get some more sleep when we set down tonight. I'm so tired. We've hardly begun. Sandstorm. Aye, I wondered what the nasty low cloud ahead was. Still, I'm high enough to get over the worst of it, I hope. Ow! Hurts. Hurts my face. Jason, we've got to get higher still. Come up then. Look, we must increase altitude. No, I can't lift your nose. Visibility 0. God above, we're simply being driven down. Down.
That Miss Johnson was forced down in the desert, where, by a combination of skill and luck, she was enabled to make a landing that caused only minor damage to her aeroplane. She shielded her engine, and after some 3 hours contrived to take off again, continuing to Baghdad. This spectacular triumph over odds has called world attention to her flight. On May the 9th, she left Baghdad, proceeding to Bandar Abbas, where she landed in the compound of the British consulate
and was received with great cordiality. The following day, the 10th of May, Miss Johnson flew on to Karachi, where it became obvious, amid great general rejoicing, that she had beaten the record of Bert Hinkler for this leg of the journey. Bert Hinkler had achieved the distance in 8 days, whereas Miss Johnson had taken only 6.
Much encouraged by this success, Miss Johnson flew on to Calcutta, but landed by mistake at Jhansi, where slight damage occurred to one wing of her aircraft. This was repaired, and she followed the coastline to Burma, after which she was to proceed to Bangkok in Siam and then Singapore. However, she had to approach Rangoon in heavy rain. The idea was she was to land on the racecourse, since they didn't run to an airfield, properly speaking.
That's the way, Jason. Nice and easy. I can hardly see more than a yard ahead. But if we go careful... Touchdown. Very nice. This had better be a nice dry racecourse, mind you, not sodden and muddy. Goalposts to the right there. Goalposts? What sort of a racecourse? Jason, Jason, this isn't right. And we're heading straight for a ditch. Lift again, damn you. Jason!
Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, are you sure you're not hurt? The doctor's been sent for, of course, but he's a good 15 miles away.
No, I'm not crying because I'm hurt, Mr.
Chisholm. Arthur Chisholm.
Mr. Chisholm, it's so kind of you to help me. It's simply... Well, it's all so hopeless now, isn't it? Landing on a wretched football field instead of the race course.
Well, actually, it's more of a general sports ground and athletics and that too. Part of the technical institute here.
And Jason in 1,000 pieces through crashing into a ditch.
A storm water channel. Yes, we have to dig them wide and deep here, I'm afraid. It doesn't rain, you see. The sky just caves in and torrents fall.
Mr. Chisholm.
Yes, Miss Johnson.
You'll forgive me, but at the present moment I don't think I really want to hear about the sporting activities of your institute, or drainage systems, or the weather.
No doubt you don't, no.
I'm finished. Can't you see? Done for. My splendid solo flight to Australia is a flop. The cynics were right. A woman can't do it. It's too tough for her.
You mean you don't intend to go on?
Oh, Mr. Chisholm, what are you talking about? My aeroplane is a write-off.
Oh, I wouldn't say that exactly. No. A bit, bent, perhaps. Isn't that the term you flyers use? But it can probably be straightened out again.
Oh, Mr. Chisholm.
There was a man in here only an hour ago while you were resting. From the forestry department. He said he could probably remake the broken rib sections.
I don't believe
And here at the Institute we can obviously do whatever welding might be required. Aye, in some ways you could hardly have picked on a better place for a crash, Miss Johnson. We've got all the equipment.
You seriously mean?
Replacing the destroyed fabric may be more of a problem. But one of our people has come up with an idea there.
Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
So it can confidently be stated that Miss Amy Johnson is safe. Safe. Though no news was received of her for 48 hours after she left Singapore, it now appears that engine trouble caused her to make a forced landing at a jungle village on Timor. Here, a missionary and his people helped her to get airborne again, and it is now reported that she is over the Timor Sea and heading for Darwin. Excitement throughout Australia mountains.
World growing older, high and free in the air.
A lot of sea down there, Jason. An awful lot. The widest stretch we've crossed so far. They say it's full of sharks, too. Sharks.
Far below, the home fires glimmer and flicker all over town.
A home. Oh, yes, I've thought about things like that. What a woman's supposed to be for, isn't it? Home and family. Or so the cynics would insist. This woman isn't a real woman, then. Just a stranger passing through. A phony. Taking to the air to fly away from her true destiny.
Don't I know the higher up, then the quicker I'll come down.
The cynics would approve of that, of course. Aye, riding for a fall. But it can't be so simple. I'm shrewder in my calculating soul. I know what it is. I'm at my lifelong trick of losing myself. That's all it is. In nursery games, in dreams. Yet can it be done? In reality?
Till I remember, I'll say my thankful prayer.
Oh, yes. I've said my prayers on this trip. I've known I didn't remotely have the skill or the guts to handle it without help. So I've begged for invisible aid. Yeah, what do I beg for now? It's almost over. But it shouldn't stop. that I should just float on and on, deeper and deeper into dreams. Oh, that moon on my shoulder. Dreams. Dreams insubstantial as moonlight. Aye. That's the only reality I've ever understood. World growing older. The only reality I've ever wanted to understand. Do you see at last, Amy girl? Do you finally get a glimpse into that calculating soul of yours? Some things, some few crazy things are clear and certain to you, because everything else is such darkness, doubt, confusion. Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Oh, there you are, Amy. Australian champagne. The best, eh? 2 sips of that and you can hear the great pickers swearing at each other.
It's all overwhelming, Smithy. I mean, that crowd in Darwin, the reception at Brisbane, and now a picnic in the air.
Yeah, well, we Aussies like to do our best, you know. And more to come when we hit Sydney, eh?
I'd really like to get some sleep. So far, I've only had a
Sleep
couple...
or strike a light. You've got the rest of your life to sleep. Right now, you're a celebrity, Amy. You've pulled off something terrific, and people want to congratulate you on it.
I didn't break any records, though, did I?
Oh, look, if it hadn't been for that trouble you had in Rangoon, you could have knocked Bert Hinkler's records for a complete loop.
But not yours, Smithy.
Amy, you're a Sheila. Can't you see it's out of this world for a Sheila?
For a Sheila.
Hey, and you know who's piloting this plane today? Charlie O in person. Now, that's really something, Amy. When the general manager of Australian National Airways gets off his block to ferry an Avro 10 Brisbane to Sydney personally, well, the passenger's got to be important. Oh, more champagne,
Oh,
eh?
please, I don't drink much, honestly.
Oh, go on. You need to enjoy yourself a bit. I'll take you across here to
Miss
meet
Johnson?
a chap who...
I'm Jim Mollison, co-pilot on this trip. I'd like to offer you my heartiest congratulations.
Jim, oh yeah, that's right. You should meet Amy, I suppose. Our fellow Pommy, Amy.
Yeah.
From England. What part?
Well, London, you know, around.
I'm from Hull.
Well, I think it's fantastic what you've done, Miss Johnson. I honestly do. I've often thought of trying to get into the record flying field myself.
Yeah, well, you'll get a chance to chew the fat with Amy later, maybe, Jim. Right now, you should be back in the flight cabin.
Well, I only came out for a minute.
Charlie doesn't want to pilot the whole distance himself, Jim. He told me that. And we can't offer you a drink while you're at the controls now, can we? Amy, something I wanted to ask you.
Oh, what was that?
Well, for God's sake, Smithy. I didn't have designs on your rotten booze. Just wanted to touch a winner for luck.
The most fantastic welcome home London has ever seen. From where I'm standing here at Brixton Town Hall, waiting for the official car to pass that will take Amy Johnson to the reception at Grosvenor House, it seems to me the streets have never been so crowded. Crash barriers had to be erected earlier at Croydon when she landed. And, yes, here's the car now. A big Daimler. And I believe, yes, I just caught a glimpse of Amy Johnson as the car went by. Radiant, smiling, happy to be home. Just listen to the cheers. This brave English girl has certainly entered into the hearts of her people. Amy Johnson, the name on every lip. Fated, adored, a legend in her own town. Amy, wonderful Amy, how can you blame me for loving you? Since you won the praise of every nation, you have filled my heart with admiration. Amy,
previous England-Australia record by reducing the overall flying time to 10 days.
10 days, Smithy.
The flight was achieved in an Avro avian named the Southern Cross, as was the Fokker in which Smith set his 1929 record. A young Englishman living in Australia, Jim Mollison, has already announced his intention of challenging
Dad!
I brought you some flowers. Just the job for the sick and suffering, eh?
I'm not really sick at all. I feel a bit of a fraud for not being able to live up to all the newspaper gossip, in fact. I've just been overdoing things, and a nice, kind doctor has ordered me to bed for a fortnight.
Nothing more than that, Amy girl. Honest Injun.
Nothing more than that, Dad. Honest Injun. Oh, such lovely flowers, really. I don't deserve them.
I'll just put them over here on the table. Right, you've certainly been overdoing things, lass. None of us doubts that anymore. Oh, your mother said to tell you she'll be in to see you next Thursday, by the way. Has to be in London for something to do with your Aunt Rose.
Tell her not to go to any trouble on my account, Dad. I'm honestly all
But all
right.
these receptions, Amy, giving speeches, parties, high life. And then on top of everything, that tour. Well, you're famous now, Amy. It happens. You've no one to blame but yourself.
What did you say?
Is that why you did it all, lass? Just to be famous?
Oh, dear, we're not back to that again, are we? Why did Amy Johnson become the plucky girl pilot?
Well, I never got an answer to my question last time I asked it, as I recall.
Look, it doesn't matter, no more now than then. Oh, Dad, I'm not sick, not properly, but I am under a bit of a strain. Now, do you think for the moment we could
I'm not here to make things worse, lass. Well, it's just that I was doing a bit of totting up on my way here today. According to my reckoning, you're 30 years old next year. Now, that's high time to get your life organised, I say.
What are you talking about? Get my life organised? I've just flown solo to Australia. Some people would say that's a mighty organised thing to have done.
Aye, it's a great achievement, I know. But the fact remains...
I've got a career in aviation. That's pretty organised, too. I planned for it. As soon as I've learned how to cope with being in the public eye...
No. If you don't like being famous, do you, lass?
I simply...
Never did, as I recall. All your life, quiet and reserved. Hated being singled out for things you'd done.
The trouble with you is you can't see me as anything but a little girl, can you?
Let's not worry about me. Now, how do you see yourself, Amy? Maybe that's what we should be talking about.
Oh, it's true. I hate the public side of things. Being stared at, never really being alone. I'll never get used to it. I don't even know what I want anymore, Dad, if I ever did. Seems to me, whatever that might have been, I already lost it. It went by me, something unrecognised on the air.
How about getting married?
I don't know. Dad, I just don't know about that. My mind doesn't grasp it properly. Sometimes I think it would solve a lot of things for me to marry, but then I just fret about what kind of man I'd marry. Now, other times what bothers me...
Cough it up, Amy. It's only a brick.
What kind of man would marry me?
Captain Mollison! Captain Mollison! We were in despair of you in such storms. Thank God you've arrived. My men are ready. We'll wheel you into the hangar.
What the hell do you mean, wheel me into the hangar? Where's your petrol lorry?
Captain Mollison...
Look, I arranged a touchdown here because I was informed you had a petrol lorry and could fill me up in 20 minutes flat. So where is it? I have to get on to Karachi.
But this is great craziness. Oh, dear me. It is the monsoon. It is broken early. I must solemnly advise you
Advise? England, H&B, non-stop. That's all the advice I need. I'm ahead of my own estimate from Darwin, and I'm not going to lose my advantage. Now fill me up and look sharp about it.
Captain Mollison,
yeah, and fill this up too while you're about it, will you?
Please. What is this?
What does it look like, old horse? A hip flask?
To be filled with what, sir?
I don't mean creaming bloody soda, do I? Fortunately, I've got another one here somewhere to be going on with while you're treading out the grapes.
This is most impossible. I assure you, sir, regulations do not...
You get that petrol lorry out here double quick, old fruit. Well, I'll take off just as I am. And then you'll have regulations all over you for letting me depart underfueled. And like as not to come down in the storm-ravaged mountains.
You would not take off, Captain Mollison. Nobody is so crazy as this.
Contact! Give us a spin!
The petrol lorry's off, of course. At once, off.
Now, Where's that reserve flask? Where's the old shot in the locker? A wise man never travels without his shot in the locker. Ah. Ahead of schedule. Ahead of Smithy's time. Level pegging with C.W. Scott. Going to do it, Jim boy. Going to get ahead at long last. Going to win!
Sing, brothers and sisters and mothers, for the lark and the linnet, they sing every minute.
8 days? Jim Mollison did Australia, England in 8 days? I met him once, I think. But 8 days isn't possible, is it?
So lift up your voice with the tra-da-dum-dum-dum-dum.
8 days? Yeah, a real Bobby Dazzler. Only one thing I want to know, though. What did he tank up on? Gin, whiskey, or brandy?
You've got to be jolly, get up on your toes and sing. Yeah.
Miss Johnson, the Quagley knows it's honoured to welcome you. You lunch with Captain Mollison today, is it not so?
Well, yes, he said
The
to me
table is this way. He has already arrived. If you will follow me, Miss Johnson.
You don't need my cabin. River, stay away from my door.
Amy, wonderful. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for inviting me, Jim. Though it was a bit of a surprise.
Again?
Well, I've been out of things for a bit. I haven't seen all that much of the flying fraternity.
Well, you look marvellous. Marvellous, Amy. As good as you did in Australia. But a sight better than you did when I saw you in South Africa.
Oh, well, after all, I was only there to rest and recuperate.
You will sit down, Miss Johnson.
Oh, thank you.
Would you care to order now, sir?
Oh, and another whiskey for me before we get involved in all that, Luigi. Oh, and by the way, didn't I make it clear last time I wanted a large one?
You didn't get a big enough whiskey, Captain Mollison.
Well, not what I'd call a big enough whiskey. Oh, these things are a matter of debate and discussion, I appreciate. I'll leave it to your generous nature, Luigi, and the understanding that malt does more than Milton can to justify God's ways to man.
Capisco, signor.
Well, I should jolly well hope so.
And Miss Johnson?
Oh, goodness, I never know what to order. I don't even like it much.
Oh, yeah, none of that.
What?
Propaganda for the water board, that is, and I haven't paid my bill.
Dry sherry, I suppose.
One dry sherry for the signorina.
So, I look better than I did in South Africa, Jim. Well, so do you, with knobs on.
I'm sorry?
Well, honestly, when you fell out of your plane that day in Cape Town, you looked like a scarecrow that had gone down in the world.
My dear Amy, when I fell out of my plane that day in Cape Town, I'd managed to catch just 2 hours sleep in about 4.5 days.
I know, I heard later.
Well, a chap can't be expected to look at his savile row best under such circumstances.
You busted the record, though.
Only reason I ever went to such a godforsaken place.
Cape Town. And that was why you flew Australia, England, too.
Yeah, well, Australia's a bit of a godforsaken place as well.
You like the high life, don't you? Record busting, heaving crates at the sky. That's just to make it possible. You crave lunch at Quag's, dinner at Cyro's, a suite at Grosvenor House.
Well, it's my natural element, all I've ever known.
It isn't.
Huh?
Jim, what is this man about town act you like to keep up? I heard you come from Glasgow. North of Watford, that is, same as me.
I'm not ashamed of anything.
I'm proud of Hull, honestly.
Well, I'm proud of my origins, too, in my way. No, it's simply that, well, they don't fit anymore. The style's changed, and we must keep up the style, mustn't we? If we mean to beat the world at its own game, to win. There's something I don't know, Amy.
What's that?
Why did you come to the aerodrome in Cape Town that day?
Oh.
It was the last thing I expected, to find someone like you there.
Maybe that's the reason. I happened to be in South Africa. It seemed only courtesy to turn up and see you come in.
Fellowship of the Air, eh?
It's worth something. Something I don't know too, Jim.
What's that?
Why have you invited me to lunch today?
This split romance
de Meunier was to your satisfaction, signorina?
Oh, yes, thank you, Luigi. It was beautiful.
Yeah, whiz out. Yeah, a bit of a drought breaking out there.
Signor?
Yes, I really think we'd better have another bottle of the Domaine de Chevalier.
Oh,
Louis.
please, Jim, not for me.
Is it principle or pure bloody-mindedness with you?
Sorry.
Save the brandy first. That's the cry of the dedicated pilot as he's playing Bluntys earthwards. Now, Hull's hot on Methodism, I know, but you really have to stop this cupboard non-drinking in the great metropolis.
Well, you see how it is, Luigi.
Another bottle of the Domaine de Chevalier, as the signor requires.
You're all over your illness now, anyway, Amy, right?
Oh, that's ancient history.
You're fit and ready to get back to flying.
Flying? Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
It's what you do.
I'm no longer very certain. I even wonder if my future isn't all behind me in that department.
Rats.
Oh?
Have I made a mistake in you? Now, that's unusual. I'm wrong about bank managers and bookmakers. Yes, I confess it freely. Chorus girls. Always about chorus girls. But seldom about flyers. I don't know why I invited you to lunch today, Amy. It was sheer impulse. But it had to be because I felt deep down we were the same.
What is flying to you, Jim?
Why should you ask me that?
It's a good question, isn't it? It's what you do too.
Well, it's hard to put into words, Amy. It's alone, for one thing. Going it alone.
Yes.
And then it's winning.
Winning?
I always wanted to win, Amy. Even at school, I could never bear to come second. Well, it hasn't made me the most instantly likable drunk in the bar, but I always had to win. That time when I first met you in Australia, aboard that damned Avro with Smithy, do you know I was jealous of you?
Because I was winning?
Like nobody's business.
Odd. I never once thought of it in those terms. It occurred to me at a particular time that it was more...
Yeah?
No, it doesn't matter.
Amy?
Yes, Jim?
Let's fly together.
You and me?
It suddenly strikes me it would work. Yes, by God, I see it clear as clear. Don't you?
Oh, goodness, I don't know.
Oh, come on. Jim and Amy. What a team!
But if we were to fly together, Jim, you and I, how would that be alone?
Come on, Luigi. Don't stint on the brandy.
Jim, surely you've had enough to drink.
Not drunk. Anyone could see. Just working up the old Dutch courage. Come on, Luigi.
Si, signor.
That's
Dutch courage? What do you need Dutch courage for?
And for you, Miss Johnson.
Oh, no, nothing for me, thank you.
Grazie, signorina. Grazie.
Amy,
Yes, Jim.
let's get married.
You are drunk.
No, dead serious. You and me. See it clear as clear.
Did you invite me to lunch today to propose to me?
No, that's the queer thing. I hadn't an idea like that in my head. I mean, I always thought you were a hell of a girl. I mean, worship you from afar.
No, Jim.
No, true, Bill. But right till this moment, I hadn't actually thought. Yet it's right, Amy. It is right.
Are you sure you're not going to wake up in a while with a fearful hangover, wondering what in the world you've let yourself in for?
Does that mean you say yes?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you've got to say something, for God's sake. You can't pretend you didn't hear the question.
Understanding, knowing things. In the beginning, I knew I was going to fly, you see. Then I knew I was going to fly to Australia. I know something about you too, Jim, but whether it's this... Do you love me, Jim?
Do you love me, Amy?
Right. You said it was right. Yes, I can see that. It's like a missing piece in the puzzle. It clicks into place and everything else makes sense.
Listen. It may be alone up there, Amy, my darling Amy. But it doesn't have to be lonely, does it?
Are you lonely, Jim?
Yes, Amy.
Oh, so am I.
yes, Jim. If only I could tell someone how lonely.
Jim, where are you?
Amy? Through in the sitting room.
I woke up and wondered where on earth you could be.
Oh, you're looking at those charts again.
Well, if this round-the-world attempt is really something we ought to have a go at, old girl, we'd need to know the conformation of the bloody globe, wouldn't we?
But it's 2 a.m.
London, New York, New York, Baghdad, Baghdad, London, with records to break on each leg. That's fair enough. Now, in what sort of aircraft, though?
Jim, about earlier tonight.
Of course, we could always pick up that offer we'd be made of a de Havilland Dragon. But while the Dragon is great over distance, it's a passenger plane, properly speaking.
I said about earlier. I'm sorry, Jim.
How that?
What more do you want me to say?
Forget it.
Perhaps I never really got over that last illness of mine.
Oh, boy.
I know it's been a problem right from the beginning of our marriage, but I try, Jim. I really do. And you don't always help. When you've spent the whole damned evening at the bar, you hardly see...
Look, forget it. Have a drink.
No, thanks. You know I don't like to drink.
Well, I do.
Do you really want us to make this round-the-world attempt together, Jim?
It's a good deal on paper. Would call the right sort of attention. The flying sweethearts of the air, up to what the public expects of them again.
But you seem to enjoy doing things on your own more lately. The England-South America record, and the Atlantic East to West last September. That was a wonderful effort, Jim. The fastest time ever for a light plane, in such conditions, fog, ice, the lot.
All the same. My critics said all I'd done was prove a gypsy engine could be kept going for 30 hours non-stop, which everybody knew anyway. Record flying's getting to be a bit repetitive. You did more, apparently, beating my London-Cape Town record last year. 10 hours you clipped off that. A fantastic achievement it remains in the general estimation.
Well, as you said at the time, it helps the family budget if the wife keeps working.
Oh, yes. Yes, Amy, as a working wife, there's no complaint of you at all.
Jim.
It's just that marriages are about other things.
Don't you take any blame at all.
Pity you don't drink, Amy. Malt does more than Milton can, and all that. It's true.
Jim, you can't be serious.
I am, I promise you. Between Honolulu and Suva, the cloud cleared, and old Smithy looked above him and suddenly wondered what the hell all that water was doing up there. And he realized he must have been flying upside down.
Oh, my, you aviators sure take some awful whisks in the air, don't you?
Well,
I'd be petrified.
We can't all be beautiful, radiant, and dewy fresh till late at night. We have to develop other attributes.
Oh, now, Jim.
And I'm only trying to tell you, you're God's gift to that dress you're wearing, Mary Jo.
Oh, you really like me, Jim? It isn't just the drinks?
Do you like me, Mary Jo?
Oh, well. Oh.
Jim, you're up here in the suite. But I thought you said you'd be in the Imperial Bar.
Crowded there, Amy. Mary Jo and I thought we'd get away from reporters for a bit.
Mary Jo. Yes. Who are you again, Mary Jo? Some friend of Bill Farthingale's, wasn't it?
His secretary, Amy.
Handling the American side of our publicity quite.
Yes.
Well, don't let us keep you, Mary Jo. After one false start at our round-the-world flight, we have to get up rather early in the morning to go to Pendine Sands and try again. No doubt Bill Farthingale will want you there with the shining morning face, too.
Oh, sure, I'll be on my way. I honestly
No
didn't...
need to go yet, Mary Jo. Night's a pub. Stay and have another drink.
Jim, I need to sleep. You walked out of that press conference
I
downstairs.
didn't walk out. I just had a bellyful of reporters.
But I hate publicity, you know it. I only endure it at all because you convinced me we couldn't get along without
The
it.
headline's money in the bank, Amy. Any fool knows that.
We need a lot of money in the bank these days, don't we? Money's more important than our lives, it seems to me.
And what does that mean?
Oh, putting up in expensive hotels all the time, the endless parties, nights out. What kind of a marriage is
Oh,
that?
Lord, I didn't realize we were talking about our bloody marriage again.
Look, I wouldn't want you to get the wrong idea about why I'm here, Amy.
Try Mrs. Mollison. You aren't the first empty-headed little trollop I've found up here with Jim when he thinks I'm otherwise engaged.
God almighty.
I am not empty-headed, and as for the other thing...
Look! In plain Yorkshire, love. There's an egg in your boot. Beat it!
Oh.
Perfect. The most used as always. We just can't help slithering back into our gutter the minute we get tense, can we?
I'm not out of any gutter! You're the one who likes to cover up his origins!
Oh, my, look at the time. It is late.
Get the smell of fish off your hands, Amy. We're living in the cleaned up world.
What did you say?
I'm missing my beauty sleep.
You pig! If you had half the decency or honesty of the people I come out of!
Well, who could hope to approach the elevated standards of art?
Night, everybody, then. Happy landings. Happy crash. Oh, Mary Jo, you should have listened to your Aunt Eliza Jane. Stay away from circus folk, traveling salesmen, and married men with wives who can hit high C. Wow.
Can't go on. Everything I had is gone. Stormy weather.
Jim, will you kindly stop singing that dirge? Look at the petrol gauge. We should have landed to refuel at Boston as I wanted.
Still enough for a fag lighter, Amy. Plenty to get to New York.
The light's going too. It'll be night soon. Are you all right, Jim?
Of course I'm all right. What do you mean?
I don't really imagine that every time you've gone back through the cabin there to check the extra tanks, you've been working out our range to a nicety. So much for your promise not to drink on this trip. You make me sick.
Just can't get my poor self together. It's raining all the time.
What's that down there? 7 o'clock.
Can barely see a thing.
It looks like a runway. Yes, wait a minute. It must be Bridgeport Aerodrome.
What's that doing down there?
Never mind. Put down while we still can.
Oh, go on to New York.
What?
Well, it's only a hop, step, and a jump now, for God's sake. Amy, what do you want to pack it in for? We're ahead of schedule. We can...
Jim, you fool. Why will you never listen to anybody but yourself? There goes the last of the gas.
Can't be. Switch to reserve.
We've been on reserve for the last 20 minutes.
Damn. Only 30 miles from New York and... Damn!
Well, at least be grateful you're right over a runway.
Circling to land. Stand by. Since my girl and I ain't together...
Oh, for heaven's sake, will you stop it, Jim?
Nerve going, Amy? Can ditch if you want to. Or climb out on the wing and strike a match so we can see where we're going.
A flare. There, straight ahead. Oh, thank God. They've spotted we're in trouble.
Yeah, shows the runway clear. Right. With any luck now, straight down the middle.
Jim, you've been drinking. Let me take her.
No fear. You may have knocked over my South African record, but you're not bringing her in dead stick and grabbing all the glory for this one.
What did you say?
Shut your face. Here we go now. All the way down. Pull up, damn you. Not so fast.
What?
Nothing.
You think I only did the South Africa flight to try and beat you, Jim?
You're jealous of me. It's a well-known fact. Those floozies you go on about only bat their eyes in my direction because they want to see you come over like bird of seer.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, up.
What's wrong?
She's dropping too quick, the bitch. My God, Amy. I'm going in downwind.
Oh, Jim.
And how? I couldn't have. We're going to overshoot.
Let me take her.
No. For goodness sake. Not like this, not this way, not through a stupid miscalculation!
What are you talking about?
We're down, but we can't stop!
The brakes, Jim!
Can't you understand? I've made a mucker of it!
Here, let me, the brakes!
Filthy! Filthy to go like this! Losing! Save the brandy, Amy!
Jim, where are you? Are you all right? Oh, my leg. Dear God, my leg feels as though... Jim. Oh, Jim. Thank God. Thank God you're alive. Save the brandy. Yes, all there is to be said, finally. Something to keep out the real world. Something to keep the dreams alive. But the dreams are dying, my poor Jim. Dying. Winning. We're none of us winning anymore.
I've never seen a larger crowd at Milden Hall than the one that's turned up to observe the start of this marvellous England-Australia air race sponsored by the Australian business magnate Sir Macpherson Robertson. Just now, John Wright has been entertaining the assembled multitudes with low-level acrobatics in his monocoupe Baby Ruth. The bookies are out in force, taking whatever bets the public cares to lay. For a fee of 5 shillings, it is possible to enter the hangars and inspect the aircraft to be used by the international competitors. Great interest has been shown in the American Colonel Roscoe Turner's remarkable Boeing 247D. The de Havilland Comet, which Britain's Jim and Amy Mollison will fly, has been painted dramatically black and given the name Black Magic.
Can't go on, everything I had is gone, stormy weather.
There you are, Jim. More coffee. Black and strong.
Look, I don't need it. I'm as right as ninepence and ready to fly. Just because I had a few drinks last night to relax me for the race.
A few drinks? From the bottles I had to beat my way through to find you, I'd say you'd caused the nationwide shortage of scotch. That girl I fell over on the floor of the bedroom was really a hospital case.
Amy, about that girl...
I don't want to talk about it.
Look, it's about time you understood. Things between us, well, I don't have to go on about that. Living in separate apartments, I'm surely you
I
see...
said I don't want to talk about it. We're here today to earn some money, Jim. That's the whole object of the exercise. Flying's how we make our living, and we either get a piece of the £15,000 at stake in this one or go under. Even you must know how much in debt we are.
Sure.
Well, stone the crowd. Talk about the bad penny.
Smithy, for goodness sake, I didn't even know you were in England.
Hello, Amy. Jim.
But you're not flying. No, I read something over a week ago. They said you're playing.
I thought I might as well come and watch the parade anyway. I was supposed to be piloting this Lockheed out here, see, but they just couldn't get her up to scratch in time. It's a shame. She has a range of over 1,000 miles. Would you believe that? Oh, I could have knocked the stuffing out of all the rest of you.
Already done that, haven't you, Smithy?
Come again, Jim?
Well, what are we supposed to do, anyway? Touch you for luck? It's Sir Charles Kingsford Smith these days, if I'm to believe all I read in the newspapers. You're slumming it a bit, aren't you? Mucking in with the peasants?
Jim.
Well, the king knows what he's doing sometimes, Jim. Oh, and he might even get round to you sooner or later.
It keeps getting later for Jim, though, doesn't it? Later. Harder to organize. See you.
Good luck, Jim.
Right.
Well, what's biting him?
Oh, what do you think, Smithy? Same old horseflies, the booze and me.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard things weren't too famous in that department, Amy. Oh, look, I'm sorry.
It's nothing to do with anyone else. The flying sweethearts of the air are about as compatible as Tom Mix and the Indians these days, that's all. And it's my fault as much as his, of course. I just don't seem to have what it takes to hold a man.
Hey, strike a light. What are you talking about? A girl like you, Amy.
No, thanks, Smithy. I'm well past flattery now. The lies of the adoring crowd. I'd just like to know what I'm for at long last, if it's possible. If I was ever for anything, that is.
Now, you listen to me. You've got a great machine, you and Jim. The Comet's just about the best in its class right now. And you're going out there today to win.
You bet, Smithy. Oh, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you, too. As long as you don't talk garbage.
One of the old faces in flying, in among all these new ones I seem to see lately.
Jim! For the love of Mike, will you stop this?
Got a problem, Amy?
You've been hedgehopping for the last 30 miles now. I've been keeping a careful check.
Well, it's still pea soup higher up. Everybody else is stooging about in an Oxford Street fog, and like as not, heading for Russia. We're on course.
But you're overdriving the machine. The pressure gauge keeps flickering like a Charlie Chaplin picture.
Why don't you relax? Take a drink.
Give me control.
Where is my spare flask, by the...
Let me take her up. I'll find the way through.
No, Amy, not while I've got to say so.
Oh, you're so damned sure of yourself, aren't you?
God above.
What's the matter?
Some fool's put rum in this flask. Rum! Doesn't everyone in aviation know Jim's not a sailor by now? Can't go on.
We're heating up.
Everything
You'll do a piston if you're not careful.
Well, what's happening?
Oh, come on, pal. The damn thing must come loose. One more try.
Yes, Captain Sir. Now, you hammer most hard this time, please.
It's stuck fast, isn't it?
Oh,
Welded to the housing metal.
Shut up.
Well, it is. Anyone could see. Oh, good old Jim. Finally burned out the motor.
Amy, will you shut your face? It wasn't my fault. We were doing fine up to Karachi. We even broke all known records for the leg.
And now we're paying the price.
No. When we force landed at Allahabad, that damn fool filled us up with ordinary motor car gas, not aviation spirit. That's what caused the overheating.
Captain Saab, you're not leaving the plane in the hangar any longer, please. When other planes are coming...
Don't tell me what to do! Get out of it!
At yourself. At once, sir.
Oh, leave him alone. Do you have to take your boozing out on poor inoffensive mechanics?
I'm not boozed. I'm as right as ninepence and was doing just fine till this happened. You've got a sharp tongue in your head, Amy. I should have knocked it down your throat long ago.
You've got a hammer in your hand right now, haven't you?
What?
I'd probably hardly notice it after all the bashing in various forms I've taken from you over the years. The snide cracks, the snobbery and superiority,
Look.
the stink! Do you know how much you smell when you booze, Jim?
By
And
God,
the tarts? They must have had to endure the stink too. It's amazing I resent them, really. Saving me a job, I should
You damn bitch! Why can't you leave me alone? Stop getting at me! All the time complaining and putting me down. Do you realise you do that? Why do you have to... Hang on!
Hang on? Is that what I'm doing? Oh. Of course. You're right, I'm just hanging on, aren't I? When it's finished.
Oh, for God's sake, it wasn't my fault. I've hitched hop before today, pulled every trick in the book to win. I wouldn't deliberately damage a machine. But when a cretin shoves in motor spirit...
All right. If it makes you feel any better, we'll call it my fault this time. I'll be the loser. It doesn't make any odds anyway. It's ended. If it ever began. Odd, isn't it, Jim? We never really got off the ground, you and me. No, we're just a couple of children. Yes, that's it. Children of our world asked to play aeroplanes over the common to amuse the grown-ups.
What are you talking about?
We may have thought we were doing something more important, but we weren't. And so, that day, that lunch at Quagg's, when you and I started out barely knowing who we were, and finished up believing we were meant for each other, well, that was just a game, too. A more dangerous game, mind you.
I was sincere that day, Amy. Utterly sincere. I don't know what's gone wrong since, but then... It was as clear as clear.
I know. That's the trouble. It's always been so bright and clear, hasn't it? A sunny day for play. Well, it's ended, Jim. All the games are over. They're closing up the playground. Time to go home. Wash hands for tea.
Oops. Damn blackout.
Sorry.
Well, I was heading for B shelter and... Good God. It's Amy, isn't it?
Jim!
I Kitty, you aren't. What on earth are you doing here at White Waltham?
Same as you at the moment, by the looks of things, trying to avoid being exterminated by a German bomb.
Do you know where B shelter is?
Past the South Hangars, you want to go
We're
round...
not going to make it. Look. Old slit trench there. Quick!
Yes, they're practically overhead.
That's better. I'm fatalistic about it, though. I say if your name's on one of those babies, you might as well just stay where you are and pour yourself another drink.
Still saving the brandy first, Jim.
Well, rather less these days, you might be surprised to learn. There are even those who say Jim's a reformed character.
Never. You're on hurricane supply, isn't that what I heard? Vital work.
It helps the RAF. And you?
Well, I'm on Oxford's here at White Waltham, ferrying to Scotland.
Oh, the ATA, of course.
The women's section. Very inferior we're thought to be, no matter how many flying hours as individuals we may have clocked up. I think the Air Ministry's afraid of women. They wouldn't dream of letting us near Hurricanes.
It isn't just a jolly flip round the drome anymore, Amy.
You see, in many ways, it's a piece of cake compared to what we did. Flyers don't know how well off they are with all this new combat equipment. Decent RT, navigation aids.
No RTs on Oxford's, is it?
Well, not while they're just being ferried. Security prohibition. You got married again, Jim.
Yeah. Some women chew broken glass, too. You?
No, not me.
You took your maiden name again.
Seemed logical. There's a sense in which you and I were never really husband and wife at all, you see. Just the he and the she of it. Oh, I find myself thinking more and more about the old days lately, Jim. They didn't die, they simply got swallowed whole in all of this. I think when Smithy went down was about the last time the world took any notice of people like us.
Yeah. Poor old Smithy. And on a pretty ill-conceived venture, too. But then Scott and Black had got the England-Australia record down to just over 2 days. He had to do something about that.
Games, Jim. Children's games.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like the end of the inconvenience for tonight. Feel like a drink?
I still don't enjoy it, believe it or not.
What a team we would have made if I'd ever been able to kick it. We'd really have won then.
Do you ever think how you'll go, Jim?
What, finally? Well, there's always this show. But if that doesn't get me, I think I might as well die in my bed. My wife says she'd prefer it.
Bit of an anticlimax, wouldn't you say?
Thought you'd just finished telling me there was no proper fade-out anyway.
Yet it makes all the playing of games a bit pointless. Not just a nonsense. A cheat.
Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Weather report's pretty bad, Amy. East wind, fog, snow showers.
I don't need to be told it's going to snow. Still, this one's got to be delivered, eh?
Priority clearance.
Right. Maybe we'll get above whatever's up there easily enough, Jason and me.
Jason?
Sorry. Funny sort of a slip there. Who's Jason to you? Chap who led the Argonauts, I suppose.
Something like that.
So he was. Need a signature?
Just the operation sheet. Here.
January the 5th, 41. 10:45 hours. Roger.
Roger, Amy. Happy crash.
You bet.
Far below, the home fires glimmer and flicker all over town.
Funny. No getting above this mess today. No break in 3 hours. No RT to get a proper bearing either. Well, let's see, Jason. Oh, whatever your name is. Kidlington. We're bound for Kidlington. Now, according to the charts, that's right here. We came from Squire's Gate. Well, should be a piece of cake, shouldn't it? South-south-east all the way. We've kept that heading throughout, haven't we?
Don't I know the higher up the and the quicker. Look, there should be something to show us by now. Something. Fog, nothing but fog. Getting late, too. Nearly 15:15. Well past our ETA. Jason, this won't do. We've got to... No. But you're not Jason, are you? Nothing to do with Jason. You're just a great lump of metal and fabric blundering through the sky. It was different in the old days. Oh, so different. Why did they end? Jason. Fuel? Fuel going? Oh, goodness, we can't have been stooging for as long as that. We were all right when we left. Plenty for the trip. Moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair. It's crazy, isn't it? Where? Where? We're going down. Now it begins to clear. Water below. Water? Oh, this is all wrong. I'll have to bail out. Never done that my entire flying career before. Funny, isn't it, what one comes to when the games are over? Oh. Cold. Oh, so cold. And still. The world perfectly still. Far below, the home fires glimmer and flicker all over town. That water down there, the Thames estuary? The Thames estuary in winter. Don't I know the higher up and the quicker I'll come down? Falling now. Falling. Like dropping off to sleep. Tired. Tired after a long day's play. Just these moments left between waking and sleeping. Till I remember, I'll say my thankful prayer. So it ends. Nobody left on the common. All the children gone home. But a wonderful day. Yes. Wonderful. The best. Because you see, it was my day. My game. And there'll never, never be a game like it again. For that moon on my shoulder, world growing older, moon on my shoulder, stars in my hair.
Elizabeth Bell played and sang the part of Amy Johnson, and John Pullen was Jim Mollison in Stars in My Hair. Smithy was Bruce Stewart, Captain Baker, Peter Pratt, Will Johnson, Malcolm Hayes, Alf and Luigi, Peter Wickham, Vera, Paddy Turner, Claude, John Gray. Chisholm and the Officer, Jonathan Scott, Patel, Alaric Cotter, Mary Jo, Karen Archer. Commentator, Hilda Kreisman. British announcer, Charles Hodgson. Indian announcer and Gopal, Manning Wilson. Australian announcer, Bruce Beebe. The singer was Josephine Gordon, and the accompanist, Geoffrey Braun. Stars in My Hair was written by Bruce Stewart, who also composed the title song. The play was directed by Graham Gould.